What's up guys, Justin here with TheSketchUpEssentials.com, back with another SketchUp quick tutorial for you. So yesterday I put out a video talking about some of the new features in Profile Builder 3. So one of the features in Profile Builder 3 is the Auto Assemble function. I wanted to make a quick video giving kind of an overview of the way the Auto Assemble function works. Basically it's a way that you can use Profile Builder 3 to automatically create different assemblies within your SketchUp models. So you can really quickly create new assemblies like fences and other things that then can be used to create different geometry and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and just jump into it. So the first thing I want to note is if you want to follow along in this tutorial, you can download the trial version of Profile Builder 3 by visiting the SketchUpEssentials.com/profile builder. And I will note that if you do end up purchasing the extension, that is an affiliate link, so I will receive a commission based on that. But I wanted to give kind of a step-by-step of the way that this function works. And so basically the way this function works is it's a new function that got added, and basically what it'll do is it'll try to automatically figure out how your assembly works based on you building an example version of it. So let's go with the simplest version I can think of right now, which would just be kind of a fence with some profiles running along the face of it. So if I was to come in here, for example, and let's just say that these posts are going to be 4 by 4. So what we're going to do is we're going to build out our assembly, and we're going to build that out in a way that Profile Builder understands. So let's say, for example, that my fence support posts are going to be 4 by 4s and they're going to be 4 foot 6 inches tall. I'm going to go ahead and create this as a component. And remember, in Profile Builder, these being components instead of groups is going to be important. And so I'm going to go ahead and we'll right click on this and we'll click Make Component, and we're just going to call this Fence Post, and we'll go ahead and click Create. And so what that's going to do is that's going to make this a component. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to set my spacing. So in this case, this is going to be, I'm going to set these at 8 feet on center. So I'm just going to create a copy of this post at 8 feet on center. And so I use the Move tool in copy mode in order to do that. And then I'm going to type in ×2 and hit the Enter key. And what that did is that created 2 copies of this object at 8 feet on center. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to add a profile. That's going to be the board that's going to run along the face of your fence. And so in this case, what we're going to do is we're just going to draw out a profile on this standing off of this face. In fact, I'm actually going to draw that on the ground because it's going to be a little bit easier. So I'm just going to draw a profile in here, and let's say it's going to be a 2 by 6. So in this case, I'm going to type in 2, 6 and hit the Enter key. And yes, I realize the actual dimensions of a 2 by 6 are not 2 by 6, but it'll work for right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select that profile on the ground, and I'm just going to create a profile. So I'm going to click the option for Open the Profile dialog, and I'll just click the plus button, and we'll just call this Fence Runner and hit OK. And basically what that does is that creates our profile. And then I'm going to go ahead and set this so that my fence, when it's created, my start point will be on the center left. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click the button for Build. And so when I click the button for Build, I should be able to build a fence post along the face of this fence. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to set these, I'm going to create 3 of these. And so I'm just going to use the Move tool in copy mode to just create a couple copies of this. So I'm going to create a copy right here. I'm going to type in ×2 and I'm going to hit the Enter key. And so basically what I've done here is I've created a fence that has a repeating component as the vertical component, and that has a profile that runs along this face. So it's probably about the simplest assembly that you can create within Profile Builder. But what we're going to do now is I'm going to erase out this piece that was right here, and then I'm going to go in to the Assembly dialog. And so I'm going to click on the Assembly dialog, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to click and drag a box around this whole thing. And one thing to note is you do need to do this along the red axis, and you also really need to start this from the origin point. So if you don't start this from the origin point, it starts doing funny things. But what we're going to do is we're going to select the whole thing, then we're going to come down and we're going to click on this button for Auto Assemble from Selection. And so what this is going to do is this is going to try to create an assembly by itself without you giving it any other input. So in this case, you can see how this created a profile that has this created an assembly that has 3 profiles, my 3 fence runners, as well as my repeating component, which is my fence post. And since I equally spaced these, this figured out that this needs to be equally spaced. So now if I come in here and I click Build Assembly, I can click on this, and you can see how now I have an assembly in here that automatically builds this fence out based on that spacing. And you can see how this sets this up where basically any extra just gets added as a little post in here. But you can see how that really easily created that assembly that now I can come in here and I can use within my models. And so you can also do this with more complex things. So let's say, for example, that instead of, whoops, we'll go ahead and move this out of the way, and we'll move this out of the way. Let's say that instead of having 3 runners like this, I wanted this to have vertical fence posts in here. So what I would do is I could go ahead, actually, I'm going to go ahead and leave these on here for right now just for simplicity's sake. I could come in here and I could create a different profile that gets extruded along the inside of this. For simplicity, let's just kind of leave it as is for right now. So you've got your 3 verticals and then you've got your profiles that run this way. Well, let's say, for example, that I wanted some 2x6 vertical fence panels. So running along this face. So in this case, what I'm going to do is we'll say this would run another foot higher. I'm just going to kind of draw this out real quick. I'll divide this into 3. And then I would just pull this out so it's like an inch thick. And so let's say I wanted this to repeat along this face. So what I could do is I could select this whole thing and I could make this a component. So in this case, I'll call this vertical fence panel. And then all I would do is I would use the move tool in copy mode to create a series of copies based on this. So in this case, I would type in like times 20 or times 30. Basically what I would want to do is I would want to come in here and I would want to create this so that it runs along the face of this fence. And the only thing that's going to get kind of weird with this is your spacing is not going to be 100% right. But let's say that we had this fence now set up so that it looks like this. Well, we could come in here and we could select this and we could do another auto assemble. And this is going to do the same thing where it creates an assembly where it repeats these vertical fence panels just like we set it up to do. And so you can see how this allows me to create different kinds of assemblies really easily. And you might have to come in and do some adjustment to like one board. There may be a setting you can adjust in here to kind of cut something off on the end. I'm not 100% sure what it is, so if somebody knows, let me know. But you can see how this allows you to create different assemblies automatically. And I may do more tutorials on this function in the future, but I wanted to give a quick overview of the way this works. So that's where I'm at in this video. Leave a comment below. Let me know if you had any questions, if this made sense to you. I just love having that SketchUp conversation with you guys. If you like this video, please remember to click that like button down below. If you're new around here, remember to click that subscribe button for new SketchUp content every week. If you like what I'm doing on this channel, please consider supporting me on Patreon. Every little bit helps, even if it's only $1 a month. So make sure you check out that link in the notes down below. But in any case, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this. I really appreciate it, and I will catch you in the next video. Thanks, guys.